Project Part 1 video. I'm going to show you how to crop your photo, how to bring it into Photoshop, and how to set up your layers. So we are going to first go ahead and have our flower that we chose on our desktop and make a copy of that flower and paste a copy onto the desktop. If something is to happen to the original, this way you have it saved and you can go back to it. Once you crop it, it stays cropped. So we're going to go ahead and click on this picture. I like the photo, but I want it to look more like a George O'Keeffe painting. So I'm going to take my viewfinder. I'm going to find a focal point in the photo, something that draws my attention. And obviously there's this very dark center, so that's going to be something that's included in my painting. And I'm going to hold the viewfinder up to the computer and use the frame of the window to mark out where I want to crop. You can move this around until you're happy with it, but right now I'm happy with this selection, so I'm just going to keep it just like that. Go to Tool, go to Crop, and now you have a cropped photo. You can go ahead and close that, and we're going to go into Photoshop, making a new file. We're going to call it Watercolor Project, and we need to make this in inches, and it's going to be 6 inches by 6 inches. 300 ppi for resolution and CMYK for print. Create. Alright, File, Open, find your screenshot on your desktop, click on it, and then we're going to move it into our project. We want to go ahead and Command T to transform, hold Option to go out from the center, place it where you would like it to be, and click Return. We're going to Command minus to zoom out. I want to make an exact replica of this artboard, so what I'm going to do is go up to my Move tool and hold it down, grab Artboard tool, and then I'm going to drag a frame across the artboard. Holding Option, I'm going to slide it across, and now I have an identical artboard. The nice thing in your layers is that Photoshop automatically organizes this for you. And we're not going to be working on this side, on the right side, so I'm going to go ahead and close that artboard and move on to artboard 1. This photo needs to be converted to black and white, and it also needs lower opacity. When we work with CMYK files, there's a high chance that under Image and Adjustments, you don't have the option to create a black and white photo. So we have to go to Channel Mixer, click on Monochrome, and we need to increase the contrast of shadows across the photo. So I'm just going to come in here and mess around. The settings all are dependent on your photo, so you need to get the largest amount of contrast without making it look unrealistic. So that looks about right for me, and I'm going to click OK. It's still too dark though for me to work on, so I'm going to go ahead and decrease my opacity in half. Depending on your photo, you might have to go a little higher or a little lower, but that looks good to me. And I'm just going to lock it to secure it. And now I'm going to build my layers. So I'm going to start with a wash layer, then I'm moving on to a highlights layer, a shadows layer, and a details layer. So let me go ahead and make those layers ahead of time. Wash meaning just mapped out colors with low opacity. Highlights are your brightest. Shadows are going to be your darkest. And then details are just going to be those fine little lines or textures that just will finish off your piece. If you have watermarks, or not watermarks, but like droplets, there's certain paintbrushes I can help you download so that you can get those into your project. Those will go into your details layer. Alright, so let's focus on the wash. I'm going to jump over here to my sample because I have the washes kind of already mapped out. I did this pretty quickly, so it shouldn't take a huge amount of time to do a wash layer. You want to have it so that it's just mapped out, so that when you go in, you know, okay, that is going to be a little bit darker than the other section. Then we're going to move into the highlights layer. The highlights layer are the brightest parts, and that's when you need to start thinking about how much paint is going down and how bright it is. I should say the wash layer, you should be working at about 50%, so you can decrease your opacity to about 50%. And then when you start to work in the highlights or the shadows or the details, you can up that percentage to 100%. So this is how to set up your artboard and get started with your layers. Next video, I'm just going to show you how to map out the wash and then move on to the other layers.